All right, here we go. Hello, my friends. Today I want to share a offer that I think you might find interesting. Some of you might have seen that I posted my 180 character last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. It's kind of this this kind of like king-like character. He's like sitting in the chair. He's got a fierce look on his face. Looks like he's been through some shit. And you might be wondering, why would I want to embody someone and something like that? And for me, it is the embodiment of this part of me that I often suppress. This, you could call it a conscious asshole, someone who is deeply has is holding a deep stand for what he cares about and doesn't care about what other people think because he is so deeply aligned with his purpose and is moving forward with that conviction. And it's not that he doesn't care about the impact he makes on the world, but he doesn't care what kind of ideas people have about his actions because he's so deeply ingrained with his value system. So for me, I grew up as a child. I had a survival strategy to please others, and my basically what that looked like as an adult is placing my center on people, places, environments, cultures, where I have been constantly looking to like do the thing that it's going to allow me to feel accepted, cared about, appreciated, loved. I'm looking for that outside of myself, and then I'm changing or like adapting myself to others based off of what their preferences are. And of course, that leads to some unhealthy habits. That leads to a lot of my own needs going unmet. That leads to a loss of power in myself. That leads me to really not being someone who's trustworthy because why? I'm not being real. I'm not being real. And deeper down than that, I'm not standing for what truly matters to me in my life. So if you can relate to that on any capacity, then I think that this offer that I have for you might be compelling. So I'm going to pull this up right now. Let's cut straight to the chase. Here we go. It is called Your 180. And this is a complimentary unclaimed power session where you discover the version of you that your current identity won't let you become. And I'll just read some parts of this. There are qualities inside you may have learned to suppress because they once felt dangerous, selfish, embarrassing, inappropriate, arrogant, needy, sexual, confrontational, wild, or simply too much. And sometimes the thing you judge, suppress, or distance yourself from is carrying exactly the medicine you need. So, what did you have to stop being? As I was saying, as a child, like I needed to stop being honest about my needs. I needed to stop being having desires. I needed to stop being wild. I needed to stop being needy. I needed to stop being in my authority. I needed to stop being aggressive. I needed to stop being willing to disappoint people. And so many of these qualities are ways in which I have found it difficult to show up in my life. And at the same time, these qualities, desire, selfishness, tenderness, authority, playfulness, eroticism, I mean, so many of these qualities are so essential to really be able to embody a sense of power in the world. So just imagine me growing up into a world without these qualities because I had disbanded from them or I had rejected them or shadowed them. Imagine how difficult my life would be and has been not embodying these qualities. And I wonder how difficult it has been for you to perhaps have disbanded from some of these qualities. So, what did you learn to become as a result of this? What ended up happening? What did you learn? Did you learn to become someone who's responsible? Did you learn to become someone that's kind or spiritual or competent or independent or easygoing or good? Every identity creates a shadow. It's like there's a public facing self, a part of you that you allow the world to see. You're like, see this, because this is the thing that's going to give me value in the world. If I'm seen as spiritual, people will trust me. If I'm seen as kind, people are more likely to stick around and offer me things. If I'm easygoing, then people won't feel that I'm threatening to them, you know? And then, but of course, that I'm sacrificing something for that. So the question is, what is the real cost of that? So for these sessions, there's a few different doorways or paths you can take. These are just suggested paths. One is the good person path. And this is, of course, a lot of us embody this. So who would you become if you stopped trying to be a good person? So not an unethical person or a cruel person, just someone who's no longer organizing their life around proving that they're good. Now, when I say a good person, to me, the strategy of being a good person does not mean that you're actually a good person. It's just that you're using a strategy, which is actually a form of manipulation to get what you want. Is a manipulating person actually a good person? No, they're not, right? I mean, we see politicians all the time. They have the image of being a good person. Are they actually in alignment with your value system? In my experience, mostly not. So, what does it really mean to be a good person? And what becomes possible when you stop doing that strategy? So that's one pathway. Another pathway is to look at the person you judge. So think of a quality you strongly judge in other people, such as arrogance, selfishness, aggressiveness, neediness, wildness, attention seeking. Now see if you can embody some of that in yourself. Because I will tell you this, a lot of the things, so many of the things, you might already know this as just fact, that so many of the things that we reject in others are really the things that we reject in ourselves. Like, why would you need to reject something in another person? Why would you need to do that? Well, usually it has to do with a shame strategy. Shame is like a hot potato. We're constantly trying to throw that potato to someone else. Go over there. Like, blame some. How do you? What's one strategy to remove shame? Blame. They rhyme. You blame. Pass the hot potato over there. A lot of the times, the qualities that we so reject in others are the qualities that we do not wish to look at in ourselves. They're the qualities that we are ashamed to identify with. And they're here either way. And they can come out in conscious ways where I'm like, okay, I own this part of myself and I'm going to make a choice that's actually empowering here. Or they can come out in unconscious ways where I'm manipulating all these people and I'm, taking advantage of all these people. I'm doing all these things and I'm not taking ownership for it. And then you have all these, we run into all these issues of people who are in power, who are causing violence in the world. So be the change you wish to see in the world, right? You guys can look at the other doorways here of, what's something you've understood about yourself for years and still haven't changed. Maybe embracing your 180 character will help with that. And then there's also a character inside that could solve a problem you've been struggling with for years. When we have access to the powers that we've rejected, we connect to this 180 character. This 180 character possesses particular qualities that you've rejected. Those qualities could be very useful for solving problems in your life. Okay, so what could your 180 character look like? These are some practical things. Maybe you're someone who always explains yourself. Maybe this 180 character is someone who says no without writing an essay about it, without explaining him or herself. Maybe you try to keep everyone comfortable. Maybe that's your strategy. And maybe the pathway here is to become willing to disappoint someone. Maybe you're the type of person that you're relentlessly self-sufficient, and maybe the pathway of this 180 character is to let yourself need someone. So you can read some more of these qualities. They're pretty interesting. This is a conversation. It's an embodied conversation. So we're really inviting you to meet this 180 character, embody it, and then actually take it with you. Actually take them home with you with experiments to try in your life, and actually really start embodying and integrating this character. Because it's one thing to do the work of getting to know this 180 and understanding it and starting to feel it in yourself. And it's another thing to start interacting with the world. And that's where the real the juiciness comes, and this disorientation and confusion and fear, so much fear in embodying this character. And the work that we do really helps to support and ground in that capacity. I'm going to scroll down a bit more here. Why are we offering this for free? Well, we are hosting, me and a few dear friends, we are hosting a retreat that's happening September 10th to December 14th. It's called Dragon Initiation, and we're going to be exploring these specific topics in a really powerful 4-day container. And we have been looking for creative solutions, creative ways to market this offering, to find people who might be a good fit, or people who would be able to connect us with different networks of people who would really benefit from this kind of work. So that said, this offering is free, but it is application based. So we're not going to say yes to everyone that submits an application. If we do feel that you're a good fit, if we feel excited after reading your application, we will invite you into a complimentary session. And these sessions, sometimes there's going to be 2 or more coaches on the call. Sometimes there'll be 1, sometimes there'll be 2 or more coaches. So the sessions are worth well over $300. So it is, the time it takes, it takes 5 minutes to fill out an application. There could be $300 value. That would be a good deal. What's really cool about this is you can actually select your 180 coach. So I'm just going to scroll down here. We have 5 coaches that you can select from. They all have different qualities to them. So for instance, Allie, she has this warm, playful, courageous attitude to her. I'll just read this. Choose Allie if you want to feel deeply met while being lovingly led somewhere you probably wouldn't go by yourself. Aurora is another one. She's expressive, wild, and expansive. Choose Aurora if you've been making yourself smaller, quieter, more appropriate, or more manageable, and you're ready to find out what happens when you stop. Here's one of my favorites, Courtney, the shadow provocateur. She's provocative, playful, and fearless. Choose Courtney if you want someone willing to poke the dragon until the parts you normally protect, polish, or control finally come out to play. I'm going to choose Courtney. You're going to come down here. I'm going to scroll down here. Well, you can go down to these buttons, but so I chose Courtney, click apply, and then that will take you to the application. So great. So I'm going to stop the share here. Cool. So that's what I want to share here. Right now, you have 2 days to apply. You don't have to schedule within that time, but you do need to apply for us to get back to you in time. So if that's something you want to do, would love to get on a call, explore your 180. Feel free to reach out if you have any other questions, and I look forward to seeing you then.